If you did not find the question you are looking for, then search for Churcher Tech 1500 Selenium interview questions so that you can find your question in some other video in our site. The next question is, what is the difference between soft assert and hard assert in Selenium? So one thing you need to be clear is, there is a soft assert in TestNG and assert in TestNG. There is no soft assert, hard assert in Selenium. So when they ask the question, you have to answer this one first, and then you have to start explaining the assert and soft assert. Basically, this assert, what it does is, like, whenever there is a failure, it stops that particular execution of that particular test case, that particular test case only. Once it stops that execution, and then it continues with other test cases, okay, by marking that particular test case as fail. But when it comes to the soft assert also does the same thing, but there is another method called assert all. So when you put this assert all after a particular statement, then the statements which are between that failure and the assert all method will get executed irrespective, like whether the checkpoint fails or not. Okay, so this is the major difference between soft assert and assert. Okay, there is no such thing as hard assert. So the other difference is, soft assert and assert has the same methods, but all the methods in the assert class are static, but all the methods in the soft assert are non-static methods. Okay, these are the two differences between soft assert and hard assert. Assert. In assert there is no method called assert all, but in case of a soft assert there is a method called assert all. Okay, and the next question is, what are the verification points available in Selenium? So the verification points are not present in Selenium WebDriver, but these used to present in Selenium IDE. When we are using Selenium WebDriver, we have to use a TestNG or a JUnit for having a verification points. These verifications points are nothing but soft assert and assert. Okay, so these are the verification points. So in these verifications you have different kinds of verifications, like you can compare, like whether a particular title is right, or whether a particular string is right or not, whether a particular element is present or not. Such kind of things you can use it using TestNG assertions. Okay, the next question is WebDriver a class or interface? WebDriver is a class or interface. The WebDriver is interface. Okay, this WebDriver interface has all the methods, like driver.get or something like a driver.navigate. All these methods it has, but these methods does not have any implementation. Basically, these are abstract methods present in WebDriver interface. Okay, the next question is Firefox driver a class or interface? The Firefox driver is a class and which implements WebDriver interface. So all the methods present in the WebDriver are overridden by the methods present in the Firefox driver. This Firefox driver's methods will have the implementation, whereas WebDriver methods does not have implementation. The methods in the WebDriver are abstract, but in case of Firefox driver, all the methods are concrete. So the Firefox driver is a class. The next question, what is the super interface of WebDriver? Okay, we have a search context as the super interface for WebDriver. Okay, search context. And along with the 76, do you know what is the super class, I mean like a topmost class in Java? If you know it, leave your answer in the comments. Okay, the next question is, explain the line of code WebDriver driver equal to new Firefox driver. Okay, let me open IDE. Anyway, I have the code somewhere in the down, so let me pick up those lines of code. So here I am going to use a Chrome driver. So whether the question comes as new Firefox driver or new Chrome driver, it doesn't matter. They are looking for they are looking for the concept that how you understood. Okay, so let me consider the Chrome driver. Here we have WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver. Here WebDriver is the type of a variable. Okay, so before starting with that one, let's start on this particular part first, and then we'll go for the left side. Okay, so basically this new keyword, allocates some memory space in the heap for a object that it's going to coming up next. Okay, which is nothing but Chrome driver. So whenever we call a constructor, it creates an object in the heap, and it gets allocated into the space where this new keyword has created a space, or allocated the memory. Okay, so the new keyword allocates the memory and Chrome driver occupies it. So the Chrome driver object, basically this Chrome driver is a class name, but when we put a parenthesis along with the class name, it becomes a constructor. So when we call the constructor, it creates the object and puts into the memory space created by the new. Okay, so we have the Chrome driver object. Okay, once we have it, we are storing it in a variable called a driver. Okay, so you might have heard like int I or a string yes or something like that. You provide the type of that particular variable. So here the type of this variable is WebDriver. Okay, so WebDriver is the not very supermost, but it is the parent interface for this Chrome driver class. Okay, so that's why we cast this particular Chrome driver class object into WebDriver object. Okay, here this process is called upcasting as well. Okay, so if some people might have a doubt that why can't I use Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver, absolutely you can use it. Okay, so let me try to open a web page using this Chrome driver type itself. So before that, so this was my experience like 2-3 years back. Like whenever we are using Chrome driver or Firefox driver at this place, it does not open the web page, but it does open the browser. It opens the browser here, but it does not open the web page. Let's see whether it got improved or not with latest versions of Selenium. Even I have argued with an interviewer that it does not open the web page, and it just opens the browser. But yeah, everybody have their own. See, it opens the web page, and I was wrong like 2 years back, but now it works fine. I'm glad. Okay, so you can use a WebDriver type or also Chrome driver type. Why we don't use a Chrome driver or Firefox driver here is, when we are using a Chrome driver, if I change it into Firefox driver, for example, okay, Firefox driver, then it throws an error that change the type. Basically Chrome driver is not the type of Firefox driver, right? So but when we use a WebDriver, what happens is like this WebDriver is the parent for Chrome driver, Firefox driver, IE driver, and all the drivers. Okay, so it can accept it. Okay, the type of Firefox or Chrome driver. That is the reason we are using WebDriver. And in most of the frameworks, what we do is we choose the browser on the runtime. Okay, so when we create the Chrome driver, then it creates the issue that when somebody mistakenly creates a Firefox driver in the Excel sheet, or when he wants to create a Firefox driver. Okay, so because of this one, we want to have a general type or general parent, which is WebDriver. Okay, so that's all about this particular line. Let's go to the next question. Why do we use a reference variable of WebDriver, and what is the purpose of its creation? Why do we create the reference variable driver of type WebDriver, and what is the purpose? As I explained, if we create Firefox driver, we can use only the Firefox driver object. If you are using Chrome driver, then you can create only the Chrome driver object. But when you are using a WebDriver, you can create Firefox driver or Chrome driver. It will not throw any error because the WebDriver is the parent for this Firefox driver, Chrome driver, and IE drivers. Okay, that is the reason why we create this driver using WebDriver type. So the next question is, what are the different types of exceptions you have faced in Selenium WebDriver? You can list multiple number of exceptions, but list only the recently faced exceptions. For example, no such element exception when there is no element is found, and timeout error when you are using a explicit wait and but the element is not present or the condition is not met, then you will get the timeout error. Okay, and IO exception when you are trying to access a file but the file is not present or the file is corrupt or file is not readable or something like that. In that case you will get IO exception. Okay, in case if the file not found, then it will throw in file not found exception, but you can handle it with IO exception as well. Okay, and then you will face unhandled alert exception. Frequently whenever there is an alert but without handling that alert, if you are trying to perform some action, then you will get unhandled alert exception. And one more exception is element not interactable or element not clickable exception. It happens when an element is overlaid by another element, and if you are trying to click the underneath element, then you will get element not clickable exception. These are the few exception, and you have the null pointer exception when the object is null, and if you are trying to call a method, you will get null point exception. Okay, there are a few other exceptions, just go through all of them, but these are the 5 to 6 exception. If you explain, then that is better in the interviews. And if you are trying to explain that stale element reference exception, then it is wonderful. Okay, so we will see in one of our question we have a stale element reference exception. There we will see what is it. Okay, the next question is how to log into any site if it is showing authentication pop-up for username and password. You have to verify that whether it is a pop-up or not. In case if it's a pop-up, you can use the method I'm going to explain, but in case if it's a model, then you have to inspect that particular model and you can get the fields from there, and then you can use send keys or and click buttons, okay, to log in. Okay, in case if it is a pop-up, then you can use this particular syntax. Okay, so first what we have is we have the username separated with colon, and then we have a password. Okay, after that at sign you have to provide to which place you want to log into or which URL you want to log into. Okay, so this is how you can use authentication, but the problem is most of the time it doesn't work with HTTPS and it works only with HTTP, and I'm not even sure most of the time it works or not. Let me try it. See, it works fine. Okay, for example, let's do it without HTTPS and it's going fine, but let's go to incognito and try the same with HTTP. See, if you can see my screen, it asking for username and password. Okay, so this works. It says like sign in http churcher.tech. Okay, so it's asking password, but when I use the complete thing, the username and password and at churcher.tech. So for example, let me type Selenium WebDriver. Okay, I'm going to sign in. Now it works fine, saying that 404 no page is found. Okay, so we are able to log in, but there is nothing. But when we are using just now, this will log in again because we have already logged in, right? So let me open incognito mode again. So if I provide something wrong, okay, here, okay, and try to sign in, you will get a different error, or you are getting popped up again with the pop-up. It will give a couple of times, but if I try again, it will keep on asking if we cancel, and it will give that unauthorized. But if you try to enter using http // username colon, and then if you use the password at the site where we want to log in, then it will logs in directly. I'm sorry, let me close this one and let me try in a new incognito. don't know, somehow it's stopped working, but previously it was working fine. Here it works fine in normal browser. Okay, anyway, you can use that way, but it doesn't work with HTTPS sites. Okay. And the next question is, what is implicit wait in Selenium WebDriver? Basically, the in Selenium WebDriver there are three kinds of waits. One is implicit wait, explicit wait, and fluent wait. So here implicit wait is nothing but it will apply its waiting system to all the find element and find elements methods. Okay, for example, if you're trying to find an element, but if the element is not present, then you can if you have implemented implicit wait, then it will wait for that given time. So implicit wait by default takes 300 milliseconds, and the poll time is also 300 milliseconds. If you have given implicit wait as a 30 seconds, then for every single 300 milliseconds it will try to see whether the element is there or not till it reaches 30 seconds. Okay, if you have given 30 seconds as the limit. So in case if it finds the element on the 10th second or 11th second, it will move on, okay, without waiting further. But if the element is not present till 30th second, then it will wait till 30th second, and if it is not present after 30 second, then it will throw no such element exception. Okay, but it also works for find elements in one single case where you don't have an element. This implicit wait works only clearly for find element, but only one situation for find elements. When there is no element is present, then only find elements will wait for 30 seconds or the given time. Okay, if at least one element is present, then find elements will not wait for the implicit wait. Okay, and in WebDriver wait, you can use this WebDriver wait for verifying checkpoints or verifying a particular condition. It doesn't apply on the find element or find elements. It applies on for a particular conditions. Here you can find an element, or you can wait till the element is present, or till the element goes away, or till a particular title becomes something, or till there is an alert. So you can use a different conditions with WebDriver wait, and if the condition is not satisfied with the given limit, then it throws in timeout error. If you did not find the question you are looking for, then search for Tech 1500 Selenium interview questions, so that you can find your question in some other video in our site.